Hey everyone, welcome to the You-est podcast. This is Julie, and I got to tell you, you are in for a treat. I'm so excited about today's guest. We're going to have a real deal, raw conversation about all kinds of things. So tune in. Give yourself a little space and time. Do not write notes if you're in the car. As always, there will be show notes after. But I'm really excited to introduce you to Lauren. So I'm going to tell you about Lauren Lee, and then you're going to get to know her yourself. Lauren is the founder of Inner Rebel Co., a company that helps women develop and strengthen a positive inner voice through meditation and events. She has an extensive professional career in corporate retail, holding roles in e-commerce, buying, sales, and business development. She is a certified 200 RYT yoga teacher, holds a certificate in meditation from Boise State University, and is also a featured meditation teacher on Insight Timer. And she's awesome. Her meditations are amazing. I have done them, and I highly recommend you look for her. She is fantastic. You can find Lauren at innerrebel.co or on Instagram, or it's a pretty good chance you might see her hiking throughout Boise. So without further ado, Lauren, I am so excited to just talk to you about this Inner Rebel thing, about you, about manifesting, about all the things.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure.
I'm so happy to have you. This is like, the moment that we connected and met, I'm like, who is this sparkling, brilliant unicorn of a person? Like, you just emanate such authenticity. And I am curious because I know that you've gone through your own dips and struggles and different experiences to really get to where you are. And I like to highlight that because I think sometimes people can listen in and then wonder, feel like, oh, well, seems like they have it all together. And I think it's important to show some of the experiences that may have been a struggle or frustrating or tough for you to get to where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I am the first to admit I don't have it all together. I have tools to help me have it all together. But, life happens and life is very real. And I love that part of life. So I've been through a lot in my life. But one of the most recent experiences that I've had that's really been challenging is motherhood.
Oh, heck yes.
Right?
Oh my God. Just pause for a minute to all the mothers listening out there that understand, and fathers too, and aunties. But yes.
I bow down to any parent.
Yeah.
It is by far one of the most obviously rewarding jobs, but it comes with so much. So I share this openly. I got pregnant and it was a surprise. So I did not anticipate this happening in my life, becoming a mother when I did. It was really a surprise.
Yeah.
So I talk about this openly because I want to make sure that anybody who did get pregnant by surprise, or you're getting pregnant in a different situation, like you're not married, or, you guys are going to go your separate ways, or whatever the dynamic is, or you're a parent and now you're divorced, the definition of family is expanding. And I love that. So I love to talk about it and just shed light on that because it was a very big challenge. So let me just put that out there. I had to wrestle with becoming a mother on the spot. And I know I had 9 months to prepare and I had 9 months to do my work and read some parenting books, but it was a mental decision to say, okay, I'm going all in.
Yeah.
So I spent 2.5 weeks, right? Basically deciding, am I going to move forward and am I going to not? And I also talk openly about considering abortion. And I know that's a hot topic. So, and I'm respectful of all of that.
Yeah.
But I went to Planned Parenthood and I put myself in that environment and I was like, okay, am I going to make that decision? And I really wrestled with it. I went to a psychic and said, what do I do?
Yeah. All the bases.
All the bases, right?
Yeah.
But I had to get really still and I had to get really quiet and I had to go within. And I truly believe, and this is largely about Inner Rebel, but I truly believe we all have an inner counsel. We really, truly do. And when you're faced with those challenges, that's when they're going to show up. That's when you need to get the most still, the most quiet so that you can hear yourself.
Right.
I know you relate to this so much.
Oh my gosh, I so do. And can I pause you for a minute? Because I
Yeah,
can
of
hear people
course.
are like, tell me more about this inner counsel. Like
Yeah.
what does that look like? What does that feel like, mean to you? How do people get them? I know I have a sense of it, but let's define it a little bit.
Yeah.
Love
Okay.
it.
So I'll even give you a real situation too. But essentially, your inner counsel is you, right? And all day long, and likely your entire life, everybody has been telling you who you are, how
Hmm.
you should be thinking. And it really starts with, I think, just loving parents and, loving guide and education systems that are really trying to help you.
Yeah.
But I think along the way, we lose track of our inner and your inner counsel, your inner guide. So for me, I call it your inner rebel, right? It's the
Love it.
person or the voice or the whisper, however it comes to you, that opposes what does not serve you.
Mm.
So let me give you a really good example. And back to that story of deciding to become a mom.
Yeah, this is great.
Um, so I was sitting in the office. So I went to Planned Parenthood. I was signed up to get an abortion. And I was sitting in like a line of girls who were also waiting to get an abortion, kind of just a very surreal moment in itself. But I
Mm.
cannot speak, like Planned Parenthood was just so gracious and so supportive. So I really am so thankful for that experience. I was sitting in the line and I was just thinking to myself, like, does this feel right? Does this feel right? Am I
Yeah.
in the right place?
Right.
And the door swung open. It was my turn. They called Lauren Lee. At that moment, the door swung open to the office, to the waiting area where my now husband was sitting. And he was just kind of looking down and like holding his hands. And I saw him. And in that moment, I was like, this isn't right. And that's
Mm.
you. That's the whisper. That's the inner
Yeah.
rebel. That's the inner counsel. That's the inner guidance. And you have to be able to trust that, right? Even in the face of not knowing what's going to happen. And so I stood up and I told the nurse, I need a little bit more time. I need to like think about it a little bit more. And she was like, absolutely, take your time. And we left. And in that moment, I was like, I know it's not right to be in Planned Parenthood. I know it's not right to go through with the abortion. And I'm going to be a mom. And I was scared as hell.
Wow.
But I made a decision based off of me.
Yeah.
My mom couldn't tell me. My friends couldn't tell me. The psychic couldn't tell me. Planned Parenthood couldn't tell me.
Yeah.
I had to make that decision.
There's so much I love about this story. And thank you for sharing so vulnerably, because
Sure.
whether others that are listening right now, whether it's a similar situation where you're pregnant or trying to decide to stay in a relationship or stay in a career or job, or really, I think it's these big questions that I'm hearing, what you're really talking about, these questions that oftentimes, we have the backstory of what our parents told us, or the religion we grew up in told us, or the community. And I love, love, love what you said. I believe in this as well. It's like your inner rebel, your inner counsel, your highest self, that your you-est you, any of
Yeah.
that. That's really asking. And you said, and some thinking for those that are listening and you want to make this actionable. The question you said was, does this feel right? And it sounds like that was the question that unlocked the door. It was like the key is what I'm hearing for you.
Absolutely. And your emotions are guiding you. And I think a lot of people get tripped up or held back when you are feeling fear, right? Fear is one of your best friends. And fear is going to tell you what you need, right? And let me explain, because that's a little, unusual for what you're saying, but like, I am scared about becoming a mom. Okay,
Right.
so now let me ask myself, why? What am I scared of? Okay,
Right.
now let me give you the list of things, right? Like, I'm scared I'm not going to be a good mom. Something's going to happen, all the things. But it's telling me, fear is telling me that I have an opportunity to learn about motherhood. I have an opportunity to grow into that. It's really guiding me. And so if you stop only at fear, you're going to miss some of the opportunities, and you're also going to miss what you are saying to you. So I hope that made sense.
Oh, absolutely. So just to break it down, so you were there, the door swung open, you asked yourself, does this feel right? And you got that, no, it doesn't feel right to be there. You left with your soon to be now husband.
Yeah.
And then it sounds like the fear like settled in.
Yeah.
And I love that. I think, well, I know I've done a lot of life where I push that away, and to welcome it. I love what you said. It's like using fear as your best friend, as your friend, as something to pay attention to. Because being a mom, I mean, shoot, that is no small decision there.
No, and there's no return.
There's no returning. That's very well said.
They're yours.
Yeah.
And so the reason I bring that up, the reason I bring up motherhood and making a decision, even in the face of fear, you're standing with your fear along the way, is that this, even though I didn't know how it was all going to shake out, me and my husband at the time, we didn't live in the same city. He didn't have a job in this, like there were like endless things we had to figure out. We didn't have the house and the white picket fence and, all the things that you're supposed to have that our culture and community thinks we need. But it ended up being the best decision. And it continues to be the best decision. It comes with challenges and facing your fears, but I truly listened to myself and the feeling of being like, no, this isn't right. Continue on this path, even though you're afraid. And that's your inner rebel. That's it. Like, that's it in a nutshell.
Wow. So what I'm also hearing is, I mean, and I think this is so helpful, is first of all, I love this guiding question. Like, does this feel true? Does this feel right? So for people listening in, it's like, when you're at that crossroads, you got to get still. And I know you teach meditation and how to get still and using that. And that gave clarity, and it's kind of like the rest just figured itself out. I mean, you had things to figure out, but I know you guys moved. I mean, now you're living in a whole new area. Like you hadn't lived in Boise before, correct? Like that was a whole new.
And that's the same principle. We lived in Chicago. So hello to all my fellow Chicagoans. Go Cubs. But we lived in Chicago. I've been there majority of my life.
Wow.
And my fiance, now husband, at the time, he was like, all right, I got this cool job opportunity. We're going to move our whole family to Boise, Idaho. And I was
having a baby, and now I'm moving where?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So we came out to Boise, and we, did the same thing. Does this feel right?
Yeah.
Does this feel right?
Right.
Even though we're afraid of all the change and everything that's going to come with it, and picking up your family and the new home and just life. And when we got here and we put ourselves in this situation, like for a weekend to see if it felt right, it did. It really did. And we didn't have to figure it out. And we just knew this feels right.
Yeah.
We're a little afraid of some of the stuff that's, surrounding it and what's going to happen, the unknown.
Yeah.
But I trust it's all going to be okay. All is well. Right.
It's such a great example. First of all, Boise is stunning. I've been there, and I'm going to have to come visit again and see you and hang. It's gorgeous. One of the most gorgeous places on the planet in the States. So well done.
I know, it's beautiful.
It's so pretty. Talk a little bit. I want to come back to motherhood and just how you've made these decisions using this inner voice, your inner rebel. I'd love to hear a little bit about how you would like to really help others with their inner rebel, kind of how that brainchild. So you had the baby, and then when did this baby idea come? Like, how did that come? And what are some of the visions you have and ways that you can kind of impact more people with it?
Well, thank you so much for asking. This is one of my most favorite things to talk about, honestly.
Yay.
So when I became a mom, so when my daughter was born, and I talk about this openly too, I'll spare you the details of the labor because nobody needs that. But when I actually finally met her, like our eyes met, it was like a familiar friend. It was like, girlfriend, I know you. Where have you been? I've missed you. And it was really like a profound spiritual moment for me.
Wow.
And in that moment, it was explicitly clear to me that we come into the world willed and just wildly freaking capable to live an extraordinary life. And she was the proof I needed, right? I needed to be able to witness somebody coming in the minute one and seeing just like, it's the awesomeness of life just right there, right in front of you. And now to see her along the way, all these milestones and all these things that she's creating, and just how life begins for somebody. Now it's so clear to me that we are all being brought into the world this way, and that I just want to help as much as possible to return people to that knowing, to the knowing of how powerful you are, how amazing, how incredible, just the absolute, like my daughter doesn't think about judgment. She just runs around butt naked, like that sense of who you are, and just not giving an F and going for whatever you truly want. So becoming a mom, witnessing that, it was just the proof I needed, like I said. And then that's really what encouraged me to get out there and contribute to this conversation, especially for women. And that's where Inner Rebel was born. It was born out of the idea of contributing to the conversation and providing opportunities for women to just freaking kill it.
Oh my gosh. So everyone listening, it's one of the reasons why I love you, Lauren, because I'm on your bus with you. I think it's so needed, especially for women, going back to some of the, the ways, depending on what your age is and generation. But I think for many of us, there's been these conversations and beliefs and ways of being brought up, whether it was said or not said, that kind of pushes that down. And thank goodness your daughter is running around butt naked. I think that's awesome. That's like, to me, it just shows like that inner spark. It's just fully free. It's freedom. Talk a little bit, I know, both with the meditations you've done on Insight Timer. I know you have a community that you're building, retreats, hiking and meditation, and just what you've noticed. Because one thing I remember talking to you is just how what you've been doing has been building organically, and you're really seeing that there's such a need for this. Would love to just hear, like, what are you noticing? How can we, tune into our own inner rebel? Those listening in that may not be in Boise or able to go to a retreat or event yet. What can you share about that?
Yeah. So it became really clear, really fast, that women specifically are just yearning for an authentic experience with no marketing jargon and all the things, like remove all that, but just a real authentic experience so that they can talk about what truly matters to them. Like, park all the makeup stuff, the Real Housewives, no hardship on them, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
being real.
Yes, getting real. And I put together the first event, not really sure what to expect. And it was, filled up immediately. It's because it's real, it's authentic, and people are yearning for that connection, that authentic connection, and a place to be freely themselves. And so that became apparent to me really quickly. And the other thing that became really clear is that people are wanting authentic and meaningful connections with each other.
Oh yeah.
In a real way, because social media is so awesome, but it really does kind of silo you, right? And so that became really clear through the events and the experiences that I'm part of here in Boise. Now, if you're not in Boise, which, a lot of people aren't, one of the best ways you can really tap into your inner rebel is through meditation and the meditations that I've created. Insight Timer is a great place to go. They have, you're on there. They have endless variety of options of what you can tune into. So that would be the best place. Meditation for me is a tool. It's really truly a tool to be able to just quickly tap into you, hear yourself, and make some decisions.
I love that. Well, I feel like meditation pairs well with this whole idea of tuning into your inner rebel, asking questions like, how does this feel? Because to even do that, you've got to get quiet enough to even pause. You got to get out of the slumber that many of us, I've been in, that autopilot. I mean, that's been one of the biggest game changers is meditation and pausing. And I'm just going to say, like, for everyone listening, you've got to check out Lauren. I have yours on bookmarks.
Thanks, girl.
Bookmarked, whatever the right term is, but I bookmarked them. You can bookmark the meditations you like. And they're really well done. And I love, you had one where you really meet yourself, and it's about finding that connection just as you would an old friend or a lover or somebody that you love, you come and you meet. I'm probably not saying it right, but I was so touched by that one. I've listened to that a few times. I love it.
Yeah, that one is, I call it self-love, self-love meditation. So if you're on Insight Timer, that's what you would look for. But what I actually just did that meditation for a public event here in Boise over the weekend. And it was kind of profound what people were saying back to me. I offer space for people to talk about the meditation and their experience. But like one guy even was, so in the meditation, I say, think of somebody who, and if you're listening into this, you could just do this right now. It's very quick, right? Like you think of somebody who you love so freaking much, like so much, it just moves you to tears, right? Like it's just that deep, deep, deep love. So think of that person, right? You see them, you can hold them, give them a big hug, and then imagine yourself right in front of you. And it's sharing that same love you have for somebody else with yourself. And that's profound for people because you often don't think you can do that. You think you're loving other people this way, but then when you think about yourself, you're like, girl, lose 10 pounds, do something, then I'll love you. So that's what that meditation is all about. But I did it over the weekend, and this guy shared that he had thought about his dog.
Oh, wow.
I know.
That's beautiful.
So it doesn't have to be a person. It could just be,
yeah,
somebody that evokes this emotion of deep love, and then applying that same feeling to yourself.
So beautiful. Well, and I mean, there's so much, to me, that's where real healing comes, when you can start to feel that way about yourself. And you just did it. You do it so, it's seamless and it's engaging and it's really profound. So love that. I love the way you did that meditation, and definitely can see why it's been powerful. One of the topics I'd love to talk about with you while we still have some time is, one of the things I know you and I have talked about is this concept around, manifesting and really getting into what are your desires, what are your dreams, and then how do you make those manifest? And I'm just curious, I want to hear like all things Lauren around manifesting, what's worked for you, maybe tips that you have. I know that's something that's a topic of importance. I'm a huge fan, and we're all doing it. The truth is we're doing it. We're often doing it without intention. So I'd love to get some like Lauren Lee, like wise intention going into the inner rebel right now. Talk about manifestation.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for bringing this topic up. And Julie, I don't know if you know this story, but I'm going to share it. So don't worry, nothing bad.
I'm like, I don't know. It's all good.
Okay, but really quick. Okay, so you touched on something really important before I tell the story that you don't know. But you touched on something. Okay, so we're all manifesting, right? We're creating situations, experiences. We're bringing people into our lives. We're all doing it all day long. Although a lot of us don't know that we're doing it. And so when your feet hit the floor and the first thing you're thinking in the morning is, oh, I'm so tired, or, oh my God, I have these meetings, and you're just drudging through the day, and you look in the mirror and you're just like, God, I don't like what I see. And it's just all of this, right? You're manifesting your life, right? You're manifesting, you don't like yourself, that you don't like your job, that you don't like your home, your kids are bothering you. You are creating this environment, right? And so it's up to you what you manifest. Nobody's going to do it for you. So I'll give you a really good example. And this is the story that you don't know, but it's a good example.
All right, bring it on.
Okay. So in Boise, they have these beautiful hiking trails. And I mean, stunningly beautiful. And so I was out there one day and I was hiking around, and that's where I do a lot of my thinking. So, that's also an option for meditation, is walking meditation. And so I was out there and I was thinking, and, I was kind of bummed out about a previous experience that I had with somebody. And, I felt like, and a lot of people can relate to this, where you feel like a victim, right? You feel like they're not doing something for me and I need something from them. And so instead of falling into a victim's mindset, I was like, okay, well, what do I really want from this person that they're not giving me? And the truth was that I wanted a mentor, right? I wanted a mentor. And I wanted a mentor in business and spirituality and all things awesomeness. So that was the truth. So that now I could park my victim mentality and say, you know, it's no longer about that person. Let me focus on what I want. And the want was, I want a mentor. And so there I was, and I was walking around and hiking, and in my mind and within my heart, like I could feel it in my body, I just kept saying, thank you for bringing a mentor in my life. Thank you for bringing a mentor in my life, as if it had already happened. And once you get kind of familiar with this and you're a little bit more used to this type of manifestation, it feels more natural. But initially it feels a little funny. You're like saying thank you for something that you're saying already happened, but you haven't experienced yet. So I was walking around saying thank you, thank you, thank you to myself, right? Not within, I don't know, 24 hours later, my sister-in-law texts me saying, you have to meet this woman. Her name is Julie. She just had, the founder of Insight Timer on her podcast. I have to connect you to. So she connects us, and boom, out of nowhere lands my freaking mentor.
Oh my God.
That's how manifestation works. And so
oh my God.
That's the story.
That's so cool. I didn't know that. I didn't know that story. It's funny because I love your sister-in-law, I love Andrea. And I saw the text and I'm like, anyone she recommends is fantastic. And then we connected. I'm like, who is this? As I said, you emanate wisdom and light and way more. And so isn't that amazing? I'm so touched. I mean, I love, and I was writing down the steps because I'm thinking, I know all of us, we want to manifest what we desire. And I love this. You took what could have been a frustrating experience of not having that type of mentor, that role that you wanted. You got clear what you did want. So you focused, I heard you focused on what you wanted. And then I heard you got really into this feeling space of like it had already happened. And you said, thank you for that. And that's huge. And I think that's I love that. People will have that in show notes, but it's like really getting into it. Like you said, it may feel a little weird at first. And then that's so crazy. I had no idea. Yeah. I just fell in love. I was like, Lauren is amazing. Like, of course, you've been amazing. I mean, just in so many ways as well, but that's a great story.
But see, this is how it works. So, and you've said this to me before, and it's about you're putting out what you want, and there's equally, which I love what you said, there's equally the desire on the other side of somebody needing what you want. Right. So, so never think what you want is silly. You have the right to think and want those things. And, I'm sure, Julie, Dr. Joe Dispenza, he talks endlessly, right, about this, about really being in a state of receiving. And so the easiest way to think about gratitude, like when you get a gift, right, you're really, really happy and thankful for that gift. And that's a state of being able to receive. So that's why I was walking around, like a crazy person, but walking around the hills of Boise saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, so that I could be open to receive a mentor. And if you're not open to it, then, you're going to miss the opportunity.
This is so powerful. I have a question because sometimes I can I'm not sure who I'm hearing, but I can hear somebody out there listening. Like, how do you do this if you don't feel it? Because some of it is getting the feeling of gratitude. So how do you conjure up that image? Maybe just say a little more. So you get focused on what you want. You're like, okay, I'm clear. I want a mentor. And then tell us from like that step to the gratitude, maybe break it down. I'm swear to God, I'm hearing someone. I don't know who you are, but we're going to answer your question.
Okay. So I think even the process of getting clear on what you want is even bigger, right?
Okay, great.
Because a pretty common thing people want is more money, right? Let's just.
Who doesn't? I've never heard someone who's like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't need $100,000.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. So let's say you're like, I really need more money. Okay. So if you're approaching it from the perspective, like I need more money, and maybe you're thinking even behind those scenes, it's not going to happen for me. This is from a lack mentality, like meaning somehow there's not enough for you. So that's shift number one. Okay. Right. So let's move off of there's a lack and move over to there's an overabundance. If you think about how many companies there are in the world, how many of the opportunities there are to make money, it's overly abundant. Like there's no end. So let's start there, right? Now, let's be clear on why you need more money, right? Like, is it because you want to get, a facelift? I don't know. Is it because you need a new roof on your freaking house? Is it because you want to start your business, right? Like, so let's get clear on why you need the money. Nail that down. Now, let's put yourself in an imaginary situation. So now you're really going to have to put yourself in a place where your mind is open and available for imagination, right? So now you're going to put yourself in the situation in your mind, imagine, and actually I'll tell you a funny story about this in a second, but imagine as if you already have that money. You got the new roof, you got the facelift, you started your business, right? Now, how do you feel? How do you feel? Likely, you're really grateful of the experience. You're super happy, content, satisfied. Those are the feelings you're going to cultivate. Those are the feelings you're going to focus on. So now, if that's hard for you to imagine, you're thinking, I'm too strapped for cash, I can't think outside of my stress. Think of one thing that makes you really grateful right now in your life. And it could be that you have 2 feet that move. It could be that you're breathing this air. It could be that it's sunny outside, whatever it is. And it's going to make you feel grateful. You're grateful for your family. You're deeply grateful for, all these things. Focus on that and now apply it to the situation of receiving what you've already gotten. My mom used to tell me when I was little and I couldn't sleep, she would say, imagine you got $1 million. What would you do with it? Right? So it's like letting your imagination run wild and then understanding how you feel when you have that. Now, all you have to do is say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for this experience. Thank you, as if it's already happened. And write back to Julie and I and let us know how it unfolds.
Yeah. I love it.
I promise you, it will work out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is so great, Lauren. I love just going through kind of like first, you got to check out, is it coming from lack or abundance? So kind of to recap, look at that. If it's not in an abundant mindset, you really got to switch it. Like even saying I need, that word need has that lack component. So you had said, I really want this. I'm ready for this. That could be a good word. And then I love what you said about, what's the why? Like how are you going to use that money, or why do you want a mentor or a new job or whatever it is? And then that imagining it and having those feelings. I love, and you guys listen, try it and let us know, because this shit works. It really does.
It does. And let me just say, for anybody out there who's thinking like, yeah, for you guys, it works for you guys, right? Or anything that you might be thinking like, oh yeah, for them.
Yeah.
So there was definitely a period in my life where I felt disconnected from self-development, from spirituality, from this type of thought in general. It felt like they were on a pedestal and it was for them. And it was for like people like Oprah who have everything, right?
Right.
And I just want to speak to that person who's saying it's not for me, and letting that person know that it's just you in the way. You are in the way, and that's it. Nobody else. And it's just going to take a simple shift of how you perceive the world and how you perceive yourself in the world. And that's it. And it's very much applicable to every single person. And I think about it a lot. I think about like, okay, well, what about somebody, in a different country, or who just has a different experience in a different environment? It applies to them too. It applies to everybody. I don't think there's nobody in the universe that the universe is conspiring against.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love how you said that. I'm so glad you added that in. My gosh, I believe, I think we'd have a whole different world if everyone really understood how, incredibly, I like the word magical or powerful but this, I love what you said. It totally applies to everybody, everyone. It's so true. So true. There's no one that's excluded. It's just a matter, like you said, it's just getting out of your own way. There's enough for all of us. Yeah.
Because we're all, no matter what you believe, we are just energy, right?
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing. You meet somebody and you're like, ooh, I'm not sure about them for whatever reason.
Right.
Or you meet somebody and you're like, yes, oh my God, where have you been? I love talking to you. And like all of those things. It's the same energy, right? And you're just putting it out there. Or maybe you're holding it back. Or so I just encourage anybody to just give it a shot. What do you have to lose?
It's awesome. And let us know. I love it. Such a great breakdown of manifesting. I love thank you for the story. I'm so attached. I did not know that. Is there anything else before we wrap up, which I feel a little sad because this has been such a fun conversation and I think so enlightening and just so many little nuggets here. And one thing about you, Lauren, I mean, everyone listening, you can tell you're just so real. You're very real. And I think we all are looking for that within ourselves and with people around us. Anything else that you'd like to share, either about, vision and dreams for Inner Rebel or yourself or anything we didn't cover that I want to make sure you get to share?
No, well, thank you so much for the opportunity. Honestly, it's great. And I love this conversation and I could talk about this till the cows come home. It's my favorite thing to talk about. But I want to just put one thing out there, right? So if there's anything you remember from this podcast, from this chat, is remember that it's all every decision you make, every experience you're in your life, it's all going to come down to, do you trust yourself? Mm. Do you trust yourself? And trusting yourself is big and it's important. And one of the literally easiest, and it's free ways that you can do that is by getting still and getting quiet and tuning in. Meditation is just the ability for you to do that. But you don't have to have a ritual experience, right? You can just close your eyes, take deep breaths, and just listen to yourself. Trust yourself. You know you better than anybody else. So that would be the only thing I want to say. Make sure that everybody listening is understanding that you have the ability to trust yourself and do it.
Oh, there's nothing else that needs to be said other than get started today. Boom. I know. I'm like, well, I got nothing. That was awesome. That was awesome. That is the question. You stated it. Perfect. So perfect. Well, I want to tell you, I am so grateful that whatever my energy is going on attracted and manifested your energy, and just so appreciate you and the work that you're doing and listening and trusting yourself, honestly, to be able to be birthing both your cutie and this beautiful Inner Rebel concept, which is, I know, growing and has such a need on this planet, especially for women. So just so honor you, your light, who you are, what you're up to, and thank you for sharing today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I'm sure you'll share all the information of how you can connect and learn more about Inner Rebel. And you can always reach out to me. I'm here.
Yeah, reach out to Lauren. You're awesome at responding, and we'll have all the info. InnerRebel.co is your website. I know you're on Instagram. If you're in Boise, go look her up on a hike or something. I don't know, or yoga.
With me. Yeah.
Check out her events. Thank you, Lauren.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.